So the likelihood of Russia trying to split Ukraine in two halves is very possible. It's highly possible. And here's why I say that again. Um, he calculated on the sanctions that that would be put against him. One thing that he miscalculated on, when I say he, I mean Vladimir Putin, is the various corporations that basically abandoned Russia. He did not calculate that. That was a miscalculation on Putin's behalf. He didn't see the American resolve and the global resolve in that manner. So now that he is looking at the invasion, almost over 30 days into it, and it's understandable at this point because he is realizing that it may be a little bit difficult to occupy the entire nation. He could do it, but frankly, he's not interested in it. And I'll explain what that point is. With regards to Russia splitting the nation of Ukraine in halves, a few days ago, on March 25th, way before the media was reporting that Russia is concentrating on the eastern portion of Ukraine, and they intend to split or divide Ukraine in two pieces, kind of like North and South Korea. So, and I made I had a video that I put out there specifying exactly that. This was on March 25th, and then 27, 28, the media is reporting that there are some, not rumors, but some intel that Russia is going to focus entirely on the eastern and southern part of, southeastern part of Ukraine. So March 25th, a few days ago, when I made when I put the video out stating my plan, and you can check it, stating my plan to save Ukraine, and I called it the Dnieper ceasefire agreement. You can check it's on the 25th of this month of March. So, and what my plan entailed was simply that: let Vladimir Putin or Russia keep eastern and southeastern part of Ukraine, and the river Dnieper divides it perfectly in halves. So in order to save Ukraine, we have to lose parts of Ukraine, and in this case 50% of it. This was my point in the ceasefire agreement plan that I put forward, that it is doable. He would agree to it, and Russians would agree to it. We're not going to give up the Ukrainian capital to him. I think he understands that, and he is contemplating exactly what I had said in my previous video, which is take the other half, because he came in here with naturally with the pretense that, oh, this is denazification and the various items that he had mentioned in his military pre-military operations, kind of like that little speech that he gave. We just rambled on for an hour or so. He naturally wouldn't state the real reason why he is invading Ukraine. And the real reason is, and I said that previously in other videos that we had put out, that southeastern part of Ukraine is loaded with natural resources. Um, Primarily, second largest natural gas reserves are underneath Ukraine in the eastern part of Ukraine. So he's interested in that. China is interested in that. And that's why China gave him the green light, because they know they would be the beneficiary of that natural gas coming out of Ukraine. Not to mention a tremendous amount of iron ore and titanium, which is used in aerospace industry. I also mentioned that in the previous videos that I have made. One can check them out. But this was exactly what my plan was. That the agreement that I put forward was called the Dnieper, named after the river Dnieper that runs and divides Ukraine. The Dnieper ceasefire agreement. And Vladimir Zelensky can negotiate this. I assure you, Russia will accept this thing. In order to save face and be given an off-ramp at this point, could mean that we are able to save Ukraine, at least 50% of it. One thing I would not give up in this agreement, and I clearly mentioned that, would not give up the capital, Kiev, which he already knows he does not want. Second, we cannot give up the port of Odessa, which is a key port city that Ukraine would need, the western part of Ukraine would need, or the government of Ukraine would need in order to function properly. It gives access to the Black Sea. So that said, splitting Ukraine in two halves is something that I mentioned before, and I feel that at this point, saving Ukraine might this might be the only way to save Ukraine right now. The other solution is to not do anything, watch, wait, and see what Russia does, and see if it comes according to this plan on its own. But reaching out to him, there Ukrainians, the Ukrainian delegate is sitting down with the Russian delegate in I believe in Ankara or in somewhere in Turkey. So they could put forth this plan and see if he bites. If he does, which I strongly feel that he will agree to this, because he is not interested in running this nation entirely at this point, because and it's possible that he came in with this intention to divide Ukraine in half. It's very possible. He wants to take the parts that have a ton of natural resources, natural gas, titanium, iron ore, all that. Mariupol, Ukraine trades 13 metric tons of iron ore through Mariupol, the port city, the one he's destroying right now. So he is very interested in the eastern and southeastern part of Ukraine. He already had Crimea. So now that if the West and NATO allies feel that this might work, I think someone would pursue this thing. But I personally feel that putting this thing forward, this agreement forward, especially the one I put forward, the Dnieper ceasefire agreement, basically halts all military operations. So there is no need for further bombing anymore. If he agrees to this, it will be an immediate ceasefire. So, and I assure you, the chances of him agreeing to this, and I looked into this, the chances of him, the probability of him agreeing to this is roughly around 55 to 60% at this point. This is my personal opinion, that and this is my estimate that 50 to 60% chances that he would agree to this agreement, the ceasefire agreement at this point, say, okay, let's divide the country in half. Anything east of the river, he keeps it, excluding the capital, of course, and the capital Kiev and port city of Odessa. Absolutely, these two things are necessary for Zelensky to the president of Ukraine to operate the rest of the nation, so and survive this thing. So this is what I would put forward, and in the next few days, to see if he'll accept this thing. And the chances, as I said before, are about 55 to 60% that he would accept this thing. We would have to try this thing, and if anyone that wants additional input from me personally, I would be glad to put the rest of it out. But I came up with that plan. It was 100% something that I was working on since the invasion, that it is a possibility that he's coming in here for natural resources, and what's the best way to divide Ukraine, unfortunately. So I'll leave it at that, and then in the next video I'll try to elaborate a little bit more on some of the other components to this plan, possibly, if I get any interest in this ceasefire agreement. So that said, I feel very strongly at this point that Vladimir Putin and the Russians are looking to split the country in half and keep the eastern and southeastern portion.